Hey guys, in honour of Vlogtober, I'm actually going to try and upload a video every day. Of course, because I'm not working full time at the minute, I've got a lot of spare time on my hands, so I might upload more than just the one a day. Anyway, this vlog is about implantation bleeding. Now I think I'm going to have to do it in two parts because there's a lot of information. Not a lot of people really know what implantation bleeding is, and even if they've got a rough idea, they don't know what can be implantation bleeding. Like, there's a lot of different symptoms for different women. It kind of depends on the woman and the cycle. So there's a lot of information. I stayed up most of last night researching and even rang the doctor this morning and asked her a couple of questions. So I think I mainly did it to try and keep some hope alive for myself in case this wasn't AF and was actually implantation bleeding instead. So anyway, I'm going to carry on. I've got some notes here that I'm going to read off. Firstly, I just want to go and say that each woman's cycle is different. Some women have a 28-day cycle, some are 26, some have 32, and some have up to a 40-day cycle. Now, usually, the longer the cycle, the longer the length of the bleed, but that's not necessarily true. Like, people who have a 28-day cycle don't necessarily bleed for 7 days, but instead sometimes for 5 or 3. People with a 26-day cycle don't necessarily just bleed for the 5 days, perhaps they bleed for 7 or a shorter period of time. So it all depends on the woman, really. Ovulation, the rough estimate for ovulation, they say, is 2 weeks into your cycle, but women with a shorter cycle tend to ovulate sooner, and women with a longer cycle tend to ovulate later. 14 is just a rough guide, like a guesstimate if you like, for women with a 28-day cycle who have 21 days off and 7 days on. So you shouldn't use it as like a set in stone thing. It's just a guide basically that doctors use. So for most women it's actually a myth, but even though I've said the longer the cycle, the later you ovulate, and the shorter the cycle, the sooner you ovulate, it's not necessarily true with all women. Some women with a short cycle ovulate later, and some women with a long cycle ovulate sooner. It all, again, depends on the woman. So it is completely possible for implantation to take place anywhere from 3 to 16 days after the fertilisation of the egg, because as you know, the egg floats about in the tube for a little bit, and then actually once it gets into the womb it doesn't implant straight away. So it all depends when you ovulated. Like this month I'm fairly certain that I ovulated around day 12 of my cycle, day 11 or 12, which means implantation should have occurred before my period was actually due. However, if I'm mistaken and I ovulated later, there is a fair chance that implantation could actually occur after the period is due, or during which time it should be due. So I just want to get that point across. Only a third of women actually get implantation bleeding, and it is more common in multiple pregnancies like twins or triplets or quads, and even more common in people who are undergoing IVF treatment due to like the hormone fluctuations and stuff. And obviously if you don't have fraternal twins that aren't from the same egg, obviously they implant in 2 different places in the womb, so it releases more blood, and sometimes a blood vessel bursts inside there as well, which isn't life-threatening or anything like that, but it just means that you release perhaps a little bit more blood than you usually would with implantation bleeding. So, you know, not every woman gets it. It's not a symptom that's set in stone, so you shouldn't feel discouraged if you don't get it. And if you do get it, you know, if you do get it, you should, I'm going to have to edit this. If you do get it, then obviously it's one of the solid signs of pregnancy, but for most women it occurs before their period is actually due. So you need to keep that in mind. However, getting on to my second point, and I'm going to do this in part 2 of the video because obviously I'm going to have to edit a couple of things out that I've missaid and stuff, so I'm going to do the second part of the video, so it's easier for me to edit and easier for you to get through. Like, if you already knew what I was going on about in this particular video, then just, you know, skip straight to the other video, which is going to be what it looks like, the consistency, how long it lasts, and what it's like for most women, cramping with it, and when it can occur. I mean, I've already told you roughly when it can occur, but the next video is going to be a little bit more in depth. So I hope you watch and enjoy. Thank you.